Laurence Kerr Olivier, Baron Olivier, date of birth. The 22nd of May, 1907, date of death. The 11th of July, 1989, birthplace. Dorking, Surrey, England. Parents: Agnes Louise Cruckendon. Gerard Kerr Olivier Laurence. Olivier is widely regarded as one of the greatest actors of the 20th century. A commanding presence both on stage and screen, he brought Shakespeare to vibrant life and moved seamlessly between classical drama and popular cinema. His roles in Wuthering Heights, Rebecca, and a celebrated trilogy of Shakespeare films Henry V, Hamlet, Richard III, cemented his reputation around the world. Audiences in the UK, the US, and Canada have long admired him not just for his artistry, but for his mastery in making timeless texts accessible and moving. Early life and family background. Family and upbringing. Laurence was the youngest of 3 children. He had 2 older siblings, Sybil and Gerard Dacres, Dickie Olivier. His father, Gerard Kerr Olivier, was a high Anglican priest. His mother, Agnes Louise Cruckendon, had a quieter life compared to his father's public and religious duties. Childhood and school. Olivier showed early interest in performance. At about age 10, while attending a choir school in London, All Saints, he appeared in a play and was noticed. He later attended St. Edward's School, Oxford, 1921 to 1924. His performance as Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream in his last year at school won him new recognition among his peers. Early influences, struggle, inspirations. Though his family had no theatrical background, his father had a strong view that Laurence should go into acting. In particular, when Laurence asked about possibly following his brother to India, his father is reported to have said, "Don't be such a fool. You're not going to India. You're going on the stage." This was a defining moment. At the Central School of Speech Training and Dramatic Art, later the Central School of Speech and Drama, in London, he won a bursary scholarship to attend. At drama school, he was not always the most disciplined, but his vitality, natural talent, and presence set him apart. Career journey. First attempts and early struggles, 1920s, 1930s. After drama school, Olivier worked in repertory theater and smaller stage roles in the late 1920s. His first movie parts came in the early 1930s, but none immediately made him a major star. He continued to build skill and reputation on stage, especially in London and with companies such as the Old Vic. Turning points. The late 1930s were significant. Wuthering Heights, 1939, and Rebecca 1940 brought him to international movie audiences. During World War II, just when Britain needed morale, he directed and starred in Henry V, 1944, which was explicitly intended to lift spirits. This was also his directorial achievement in film. He earned an honorary Academy Award for it. Mature career and dual stage screen mastery. He continued to alternate between theater and film, often interpreting Shakespeare both on stage and on film. Hamlet in 1948 was perhaps his most lauded film. It won both Best Picture and Best Actor Oscars, among many honors. Further Shakespeare films. Richard III, 1955, among others. These works reinforced his status as not just a star, but a bridge between classical theater traditions and modern cinematic storytelling. Later career and adaptation in the 1960s. 70 segundos. His film roles expanded. Spartacus 1960, The Entertainer 1960, The Shoes of the Fisherman 1968, Sleuth 1972, Marathon Man 1976, The Boys from Brazil 1978. These movies often put him in supporting or character roles, but his presence was always felt. On television, he also made important appearances. Long Day's Journey into Night 1973, Brideshead Revisited 1981, King Lear 1983, among others. Since his filmography runs into dozens, but major ones with roles and short descriptions. Movie year role played short description, The Beggaress Opera, 1953, Captain musical adaptation of John Gay's work, with Olivier as the roguish central figure. Bunny Lake is Missing 1965, Superintendent Newhouse, a British thriller about a mysteriously vanished child. Olivier plays a policeman drawn into suspense. Clash of the Titans, 1981, Zeus Voice. Actor and narration, older role. A myth-based fantasy film. Late in his career, Olivier lends gravitas via narration and small but striking presence. The Devil's Disciple 1959 General Burgoyne adaptation of George Bernard Shaw's play. Olivier plays a British general in the American Revolutionary. Context: Hamlet, 1948. Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, Shakespeare's tragedy, adapted and directed by Olivier, one of his crowning screen achievements. Henry V, 1944, King Henry V, a Shakespeare adaptation made during World War II, both uplifting and patriotic, filmed in Technicolor. Khartoum 1966, the Mahdi historical epic. Olivier plays the leader facing General Gordon in a large-scale film. Marathon Man 1976. Christian Schell, a thriller. Olivier plays the chilling antagonist. His later career, still powerful. Rebecca 1940, Maxime de Winter Gothic, romantic thriller. A big role that helped make him known in Hollywood circles. Richard III, 1955. Richard, Duke of Gloucester, King Richard III, another key Shakespeare adaptation, with Olivier directing and leading. Sleuth, 1972. Andrew Wyke, a dark, cunning, mystery psychological film. Olivier, in a leading, devious role. Spartacus 1960, Marcus Licinius Crassus. Big Hollywood epic. Olivier plays the Roman antagonist to Kirk Douglas's Spartacus. The Prince and the Showgirl 1957 Charles. The Prince Regent of Carpathia romantic comedy, drama, directed by Olivier co-starring Marilyn Monroe. Highlight of 3 to 4 blockbusters in detail. Here are deeper looks at a few of his biggest or most culturally significant films. Henry V, 1944. What it meant? Made during World War II, Henry V was intended to bolster British morale. Olivier directed and starred in it. Style and impact. It used vibrant Technicolor, grand battle scenes, stirring speeches, especially it set a standard for cinematic Shakespeare adaptations. Recognition. He received an honorary Academy Award for this film, for his outstanding achievement as actor, producer, and director in bringing Henry V to the screen. Hamlet 1948 achievements. This film won Best Picture and Best Actor at the Academy Awards. It also won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival. Cultural impact. It remains often cited as one of the definitive screen versions of Hamlet. Its influence has lasted both for how it staged soliloquies and for how Olivier's performance balanced psychological intensity with tragedy. Richard III, 1955 significance. Another Shakespeare adaptation directed by and starring Olivier. It showed his ability to adapt and cut Elizabethan texts for film while keeping power and theatricality. Reception. Though initially met with mixed box office success, especially in the US, over time it has been critically reappraised and is considered among his best. It also had huge reach via television broadcasts in the US Spartacus 1960 Hollywood scale. As Olivier played a major villain in one of the biggest epics of its era, it exposed him further to mass audiences outside Shakespeare and British seriousness. Legacy. The film remains one of the iconic historical epics, and Olivier's performance is often remembered among the strongest parts of it. Achievements and awards. Laurence Olivier's honors are many and international. Some of the key ones. Knighted Sir Laurence Olivier in 1947 for services to theatre and film, elevated to the peerage. Baron Olivier of Brighton in 1970. Appointed to the Order of Merit in 1981. Academy Awards. One Best Actor for Hamlet, plus at least one honorary Academy Award for Henry V, and another for Lifetime Achievement. British Academy Film Awards, BAFTA, Golden Globes, Emmy Awards, among others. Theatre honors. Founder, Director of the National Theatre from 1962 to 73. In the UK, posthumous honors. The Laurence Olivier Awards for Theatre in London. The naming of the largest auditorium at the National Theatre after him. Personal life, marriages, and family. He was married 3 times. To Jill Esmond, 1930–1940. To Vivian Leigh, 1942–1960. The actress best known as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. That's mariage public and intense, was also troubled partly by Lee's mental health issues, to Joan Plowright from 1961 until his death. He had 4 children. Lifestyle, values, challenges. Olivier was known for intense preparation, deep study of texts, especially Shakespeare. He was demanding of himself and others. His commitment to acting as craft was legendary. He suffered health issues later in life, including dermatomyositis, a muscle disorder, and thrombosis. These restricted his ability to take lengthy roles or be insured for large productions in his later years. Financial challenges, too. Despite his stature, like many actors of his generation, he faced uncertainties, especially with needing to maintain estates and care for dependents. Some of his decisions, commercial work, cameos in later years, were to secure income. How he overcame obstacles. Adaptability. Shifting from leading men classical roles to character parts, then to television and smaller screen roles. When large film roles and health made big productions impractical, dedication to theater. Even when cinema was offering glamour, Olivier's heart often remained with the stage. He kept returning to it. His founding of and leadership in the National Theatre reflects that conviction. Legacy and global impact, beloved by audiences in Canada, UK, USA because of his combination of classical gravitas and dramatic versatility. Whether through Shakespeare, large historical epics, or modern drama, his performances crossed borders and cultural divides. Contribution to cinema and theater. He helped bring Shakespeare into mainstream cinema, making full-scale film versions with rich production values. For example, Henry V, Hamlet, Richard III. These remain reference points for actors, directors, scholars. His leadership in British theatre, the Old Vic, National Theatre, shaped generations of actors. The Olivier Awards London Theatre are named in his honor. They celebrate excellence in theatre, much like the Oscars do for film. Enduring influence. His approach to character. His precise diction. His stage techniques are studied in acting schools. His film work, especially Hamlet, is still viewed, restored, re-released. His Shakespearean adaptations still inspire new productions. Further details here are extra facts, trivia, and little-known stories that enrich his biography. Little-known starry history. As a child, he won praise early. While at choir school, he acted. Ellen Terry, the famous actress, saw one of his early performances and declared him to be a great actor even at that early age. At drama school, one of his contemporaries was Peggy Ashcroft, who remembered him as rather uncouth, in that his sleeves were too short and his hair stood on end. But he was intensely lively and great fun. During The Prince and the Showgirl 1957, his relationship with Marilyn Monroe reportedly had tensions. One story says Olivier remarked that she should try and be sexy, which annoyed Monroe. In Hamlet 1948, for the role of the Ghost King Hamlet, Olivier recorded his own voice, slowed down, to produce an eerie, otherworldly tone. Late in life, due to health issues, he took on commercials, for example, for Polaroid cameras, but insisted these not be shown in Britain. He was offered a peerage earlier around 1967, but declined. He accepted a life peerage in 1970.